A British man says he endured an Orwellian nightmare after being arrested over a LinkedIn photo. It was a photo that showed him holding a legal gun while he was visiting the United States. He was arrested in the UK, and he says police treated the entire thing as a threat. They jailed him overnight, and they kept returning for weeks, only for the case to be dropped for lack of evidence. He now says the ordeal wrecked not only his peace, but also his business. He said, "I thought 1984 was a book, not an instruction manual." Raj Nair, this is a wild story of this man essentially coming to America, taking a photo of him holding a gun. And he apparently did this on private property. It was a legal gun in America. He goes home, posts it on LinkedIn, and ends up getting arrested, spending a night in jail, and going through a legal nightmare. What is your reaction to this?
So maybe there's some fact that we're unaware of. Maybe there's some other detail. We looked, I didn't find any, but maybe there's something that I'm missing. But good night. It sure seems like the UK and Europe have lost their mind. Obviously, we've done stories about freedom of speech issues in the UK, freedom of religion issues in Finland. Billy, you obviously documented that extensively. This is crazy. You're telling me a British guy comes to the States, does everything legally here, just takes some photos of like a very normal gun outing, I guess you could call it, and then gets arrested, detained. I mean, what? What? When you sent me this article, I'm like, nah, there has to be something else going on.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for us to read why Americans so value that. Let me read verbatim the Second Amendment. It's one line, but I think there's a lot of like people with opinions and clips. What does the document actually say? This is what the foundational document in the United States: a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, obviously, this man is not an American citizen, but I think that's the whole purpose, is that middle part. Necessary to the security of a free state. Man, when the government becomes, as this person says, Orwellian, 1984, I think, let me just call a spade a spade. Most people that don't understand Americans' obsession with guns, I'm not even saying where I stand on this. It's just that they want to go hunting or something. This, from my experience and from my understanding of America's obsession, I guess you could call it, with the Second Amendment, it has almost nothing to do with hunting or duck hunting or skeet shooting or any of those other things. It's the idea of being necessary to the security of a free state. And Europe, UK, you guys don't have a free state anymore, where you can be arrested for praying near an abortion clinic, where you can be arrested for taking pictures of illegal activity in the United States. That is Orwellian. That is 1984. That is a cause for concern. And that is why the founders of this government put being necessary to the security of a free state. That's the Second Amendment. It's not anything else that's been made like, oh, they want to go shoot a deer. Like that's secondary. The whole purpose is that if the idea of having your own liberty, your own self-autonomy, your own individualism in the collective of being an American, but it is something holistically freedom facilitating to have this Second Amendment, and to do the exact opposite, where you're questioned and detained. Man, Europe is losing it, brother. This is bad. To be detained and arrested for all of these things, where it's freedom of expression, of belief, of going to America, and I don't know. I mean, the UK can make their own laws up, I guess, but this is, as he's pointing towards, very 1984-ish.
Yeah, and his name is John Richelieu Booth, which we didn't mention before, and he's an IT consultant, I believe. And, apparently we don't know all the details. So look, there's always potentially some other side. Apparently a person complained about the photo, felt it was threatening. There was some sort of stalking charge initially or claim, but that was, from what we know, that was all dismissed. And so there was one media outlet that reviewed all of this and posted an opinion piece out in the UK saying that there was no evidence that should have led to any any of this, that they had a lot of questions about how the police handled themselves in this. And I think to your point, Raj, we also have a number of other cases that have unfolded in the UK, people praying silently outside of abortion clinics, right? And running into problems with police. Insane First Amendment. In America, these would be First Amendment issues that, we would be protected. But even in America, and this is important to remember, we saw a football coach, a high school football coach, have to go all the way to the Supreme Court to win a battle that he should have won in lower courts to be able to pray on the 50-yard line. This is something that has crept in even in America. So when we see these things happen, it's sort of, to me, a warning. Where do we not want to go? Again, it's possible we're missing details here. We'll continue to follow it and see if anything else comes out. But the charges were dropped, so that should tell you something. And John is now speaking out about his case. Calling it an Orwellian nightmare, I think, is pretty appropriate. I love what he said about 1984. I thought 1984 was a book, not a manual. And it does feel very much like when people are saying things that other people don't like, or in this case, posing with a gun. Guns are much more restricted in the UK, that there's such this negative visceral reaction that not only do they not like it, they want to stop the person from doing it. And weaponizing the police to do that is one of the most dangerous things a culture and society can do.